Well, howdy! Welcome to my channel. If you're new around these parts, my name is Melissa, but if you're one of my rootin' tootin' subscribers and you've been following along, then you already know that around these parts, folks call me Missy. Now, before this video gets started, let me just say that when I started this project, I had an inkling that this project would be, well, something else. Some might call it controversial. I may be about to create a monstrosity, but the way I sees it, when you hear the call of the Wild West, you best be answering that. So that's what I did. Let's get started. I may be about to create a monstrosity. Here's my plan for this dress. Orange. I want to make a skirt. Something like that, where this is all orange, and then a top. Here's my plan. Let me show you the fabrics. I have this bolt. Isn't that cute? Of little guinea pigs. I'll probably interchangeably call them guinea pigs and cuy in this video because sometimes I forget the word guinea pig. And cuy is Spanish for guinea pig, but they're cute. And I also have some orange bed sheets that I'm going to use for these orange bits because there's a lot of pattern going on with that fabric. I think we want to break it up a little bit. So this is kind of the plan. And I might have extra fabric, and if I do, we'll see what I'll do with it. I'm not sure just yet, but this is the plan. This is the idea. So let's get to that. I have a few different patterns that I'm going to try and use to amalgamate, and I'm gonna alter them a little bit in order to make this outfit beside me here. First, I have this shirt pattern, which I've used before, and I like how it looks on me. I have this historical skirt pattern, which I think, looking at the shape at the top, might be nice for what I'm looking for that like top portion that's maybe a little bit more fitted. And then I have this pattern, which I have used time and time again for a circle skirt, and that's going to be for the bottom part of the skirt, which I want to be a lot more full. So I'm going to need to dig through those and start making alterations. If you're still wondering why I said I thought this might be a monstrosity, then I like you. Hello, you should stay for a while. Everyone else, yes, that print is very loud, and the choice of using that radioactive orange is a choice that I am making. We are just all on a train, and it is going down the tracks straight for Funky Town, and it's probably going to crash into it and just ruin the discotheque, which, as you can imagine, in Funky Town, that's a really big disaster. The fabric is really cute though, and I think that it would make an adorable pajama set, and that's what it would be appropriate as. But instead, what I really wanted to do was make this 1950s inspired outfit. So here we are. This top is always either giving the burlesque mouse from The Great Mouse Detective, which slay, or it's giving old grandma, and there's no in between. But I'm hoping that today, I don't know, today I'm feeling burlesque mouse. Anyways, that's completely off the topic. We are going to be continuing. First, I need to make some mock-ups because I have never used that Victorian skirt pattern before, and so I don't know if it will fit. I have zero clue. Before I do that, I need to check the pattern to see if the measurements will roughly equal making a me-size skirt, because I haven't even looked into that. I don't understand pattern sizing. Am I going to learn that? Maybe someday, but today, not so much. If it will, I have this fabric to mock up with. It is just a cotton quilting fabric, which I had purchased a long time ago. This has been in my stash for 10 years. Let's do it. Please tell me in the comments, have I been the only person who's been getting these 1950s inspired Western dresses? I think they're so adorable. And thinking about it now, I think that those ads being pushed to me might have influenced my decisions in this video. Of course, what I am making is probably a little bit more camp than any of those. And some of them have fringe. Anyways, here I am in the video working out the math of this pattern and trying to determine whether or not it will fit me. I am bad at math. I determined that it would not fit me. I also didn't read the pattern all the way through, and I think it required a little bit of like pleating or gathering in the back. However, my measurements don't take this into account. Honestly, I don't know how I made this work, because I added inches to the pattern and things still basically worked out. So here we go. I have this big roll of paper, and if you have been watching my videos, then you are familiar with this big roll of paper. And if you are a crafter, you know that if you ever find a big roll of paper at the thrift store, get it. This big roll of paper has come in handy so many times, and I'm really glad that I have it. I don't know what I'll do when I run out. So after tracing the pattern and adding the inches needed to those pattern pieces, I wanted to go over my pencil marks again, but this time with marker. You may have noticed that I just wanted to use this pattern for the upper part of the skirt, and so maybe it seems like a lot to make the full length skirt with all the new pattern pieces, but I do want to eventually use this skirt to make a full entire thing. And I'm really glad I did this now, because I now have fabric that I really would like to use to make a skirt using this pattern. All right, I'm gonna quick sew together all of these bits. If you were paying attention while I was cutting things out, and you are a smart cookie that way, you maybe noticed that this piece, which is a cut on fold piece, was not in fact placed on a fold, which I did knowingly, if not necessarily intentionally, mostly just to save fabric. But I figured probably, I usually do like a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and I gave, or a quarter. I usually do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but I gave myself a 1/2 inch, I think, on my board. So that should be fine as far as sewing this together. I'm still gonna try and do 1/2 inch seam allowances for most of them. That's gonna be the first thing, I guess, that I do, is sew these center pieces together, and we will go from here. Let's sew it together. Okay, now I'm running into an issue because here is the skirt, and if I spin it around, or my bike shorts, there we go. My problem is that I have got it wide enough and it fits on there with a little space. I think, you know, maybe a little bit roomier would be better, but I've still got 2 more pieces that I could add to the skirt, but that would make it substantially too big. So my math is wrong somehow. If I sew it together with a lot more seam allowance, then that might help with the issue. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels, which feels like it would give me the feeling that I need here for that design. Maybe what I want to do is just stop here and figure out my shapes. Okay, I have drawn out, I hope you can see, chalk lines for where I can do my points. I thought I could do each of these as a point. As I was drawing that out, I thought it looks a little fairy. That might be really cute actually for like something that looks like a leafy thing with like a floral skirt, which I might do sometime, but not this time, because that's not what we're doing in this video. We're doing something more Western-y. So I think this one works better, and my partner agrees because I can't make decisions on my own like an adult, that it should be like this. Let's do the plan. I need to alter pattern pieces so that it fits with this idea, and then we'll move on from there.
Again, this might have been faster if I had just taken the pattern pieces and cut them, and then it would be done. But instead, I decided to trace the pattern pieces and then cut them a little bit to make them work. So I have full-length skirt pieces and then shortened pieces that fit with this project in particular. But that means that I still have altered pattern pieces of this Victorian skirt that I can use later. Now we're in my kitchen because I decided that that orange is a little too radioactive, so I thought I could coffee and tea dye it. So I got all the tea that I had, all the coffee that I had, and I put it in a pot, and then I started doing some dishes while that heated up. But I didn't have a lot of coffee or a lot of tea in my house, so I wasn't sure how well this would work. The goal wasn't necessarily to turn the orange fabric brown, it was just to tone it down a little bit. The sheet is 100% cotton, so in theory, this should work.
Take a look at the result of our labors, shall we? It still looks quite radioactive. However, if you compare it, it is just a little more of like it's a subtle difference. It has tinted brownish. I wish it was a little bit more of a dramatic change, but I'm gonna have to take it. That's what we've got. What I have here is I have copied a circle skirt pattern. This pattern is for 1/4 of a circle skirt, and I've determined that with these I will need 3. So we're gonna do 3/4 of a circle skirt, which I think will still be plenty of skirt for me. But in order to figure out what shape I need the top to be, I need to tape these pieces together so that it simulates what it will look like to have these sewn together as I lay it on top of here to figure out what shape I need cut out. You'll see. But in order to tape it, I've got this masking tape, which is already pretty gentle on paper. But what I do is I just stick it down onto my crusty, dry hands. And then when I'm ready to use it, I pull it up and it's lost enough of its stickiness that it comes off easily without damaging the paper. The side front and the side back are going to make this triangle shape, and then I cut out 2 front pieces, a second front piece, just so that I can get 2 of those triangle shapes. And I'll just stick them together.
This entire step is an example of me going forward with a plan without really having thought it through as thoroughly as it could possibly have been thought through. Every step of this was just ill-fated. As I was taping things together, I was realizing that they would sit together differently when they are actually sewn together versus being taped together. And then if my top piece is kind of tilted, then it will be reaching down longer on one side than on the other side, and more. There are more problems with this whole idea.
So my problem now is that this is a different angle, so it is going to sit differently inside of this, which means I think I'm gonna need to draw a second hemline that is the same distance from the point as my other one. Okay. Time for another little update. So I have already cut out these pieces in this orange fabric. I'm gonna cut them out again because I wanna double them up. And then I also decided that I want to have a front closure, and I thought it would be extra Western to do something of a pants fly on the front of the skirt. So I grabbed this pattern and I pulled the fly pieces out and cut those out as well. And then as part of this pattern, they also had welt pockets actually for the back of the pants, but I thought it would be cute to have little welt pockets in the front of the skirt. So those will probably end up going on the side bits. Where is that? I need to cut those out too. Here's that pattern piece. It's supposed to fold up to make the pocket, but that looks like a teeny tiny little pocket to me. We don't want that. We want something bigger. So we'll probably make it a bit longer than it actually is. And then that will kind of just sit behind these front side pieces. It should work out. I'm also considering embroidery aspects. I think it would be really cute if on the points there was some kind of like a embroidered cow skull. Try and do that by hand. Hopefully I get around to doing that. We'll see. So I need to keep cutting.
I did not get around to making cow skulls on this, and I'm okay with that.
So I was just reading the label on this, and it does not say that this cotton is pre-shrunk. It says Western guinea pigs, 100% cotton, width of fabric 44 inches, Fabric care, machine wash, normal cold, non-chlorine bleach, tumble dry, low cool iron. No information about whether it's pre-shrunk, so I'm going to need to wash it, I think, first before I get started on working with it. I am going to open this. I've never opened a completely unwrapped bolt of fabric, and I probably never will get the chance again because I pretty much exclusively buy my fabrics at the thrift store. So this is just a fun little moment for me. And you get to share it with me. Hooray! So I'm just cutting the top of this plastic off. Oh, it's tougher than I think it's gonna be, but also these scissors are garbage. All right, let's slide it off. What does it smell like in here? It smells a little like coffee. It doesn't really smell like anything, honestly. Oh, one of the little paper sleeves came off. Take off the other little paper sleeve. Oh, it's crisp. It's crisp. Yeah, it smells like the fabric store. That's what it smells like. Eau de Joanne. May she ever lie peaceful. Yeah, so that's it. We're gonna peel this right off of the bolt and stick it in the wash. How many yards does it say? 8 yards. 8 yards. 8 yards of guinea pigs. Who knows what else I'll make with this stuff? I don't know. It just keeps going. Okay. Here it all is. I'm gonna go stick it in my laundry. All right, I now have pulled this out of the wash, and having done so and handling it now, it feels actually a lot thicker than I thought it was gonna feel, so I don't think I need a lining, which is what I had planned on doing. Additionally, like, you can't see through the fabric like you could with some of this orange fabric, so if I show you a pattern piece with a piece of the orange fabric on top, you can still see, that's kind of backlighting it, but like, it's hard to see on the camera. There we go. You can still see all the words through the paper, whereas with this fabric, I put my pattern piece under, and you really can't see through the fabric. So I think I just need to cut out my pattern pieces for my skirt, and then I'll be ready to rock and roll.
While you watch me cut out this fabric, here's a little more information about how it came into my possession. I moseyed into Joann Fabrics the day before they closed officially, at least the one in my area. The selection was severely limited. I think there were a bunch of sports prints, a couple political prints, and The Who. There was one print of the band The Who, which I did get a bolt of that. I ended up using a bunch of it inside my couch, as in the layer that holds the fluff under the layer of upholstery fabric. Anyways, I saw this print, and this little version of me came out and said, "We need it." It's a Polaroid of me as a kid, in case you're one of those people that is crafting while you watch YouTube, because same.
this has gone wrong. I realize I don't know mathematically what I did wrong, but I understand what I did wrong. Essentially what it is I took a circle skirt. And the reason that a circle skirt has all of the folds at the bottom distributed evenly is because it's a circle at the top and then it's a circle at the bottom. I took it from a circle at the top to basically being flat across the top. And you can see like it comes up, these edges are shorter than the center edges. So all I'm going to need to do is bring it up and basically have it come in like that instead. Part of my brain understood this, but I couldn't figure out how to do it when I was doing the pattern. And also part of my brain was like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Anyways, it's not fine. And so that's basically what I need to do. But other than that, the skirt is pretty much put together. I think it's pretty cute. I'm going to work at this. This is where we're at with this skirt. I haven't added the buttons or anything yet, and I'm glad that I haven't, because it kind of looks cute, right? It kind of looks cute when I'm standing up. It is a bit tighter than I expected it to be from my little mock-up, and I think it looks really dumb when I'm sitting down. It looks weird. This stuff wants to come up because all of my body is bunching in there. I think if I took the waistband up one waistband's worth, then that'll still be really cute. It'll be more like what I'm looking for. It'll give me a little more space. Additionally, I think that the changes I made to the bottom skirt portion are working. It's looking a lot more like what I had envisioned for it. However, I'm getting some weird puckering right here and right here and right here. More things that will need to be fixed. I thought it was gonna be so straightforward. But that's where we're at. I'm not gonna deal with it today. This is all a problem for future me, maybe tomorrow me. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see when I get to it. Inside my brain, it's just 3 monkeys fighting a feral cat for control. And if the monkeys can all work together, they can take care of that feral cat. But that feral cat is devious and divisive. And it will rip that family of monkeys apart if it has the opportunity to say anything. And so the space is a mess. And I just want to clean it up so that, the feral cat doesn't feel quite as at home in here. But I also just want to get this project done because I could use some dopamine. So here's what I've got going on. So I took apart the waistband and the zipper. I don't know, it's around here somewhere. And now I just need to put it back together. So let's do it. Also, this thread was running out, so I bought new thread, but it doesn't perfectly match this old thread. I could have gotten thread that perfectly matched this, but I decided that I wanted 100% cotton thread, just 'cause. So here we go. bobbin is running low, but I do have my zipper in place now. I'm not sure I did that right. Oh well, it's there. So next, reattaching the waistband. It's all getting underway. Try back on again. There we go. And then we just need like a button to close it. And it's looking pretty cute. It's still bunching. I don't know why it's bunching so much here. Oh, I have to figure that out. I guess I gotta just keep working on it and see if I can't get it to stop being annoying. All right. I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm doing it. I'm putting the pocket in. I've been putting this pocket in. We're so close to being done with this pocket. I've got to get a button on the front of this, and then she's done. I've hemmed it already. I'll wanna press it with a you don't press things with a sewing machine. Oh, what was I gonna say? Ugh, I'm dead inside. I'm gonna press it with an iron. I wasn't gonna do the pocket. And then I was like, oh, I can't have a skirt without a pocket, especially not if I made it myself, because like one of the beautiful things about making your own clothes is putting pockets in all the things. So even though I hate putting pockets in things, I love having the pockets in the things. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish it. And at this point, I don't have a choice because I've already cut the fabric open. So I've just gotta power through and get it done. Then we press the skirt, and then the skirt is done. And I still need to make a top that goes with it, because you gotta have the full matching outfit if you're gonna be wearing cowboy guinea pigs. I need to get it together. I just need to get it together. I need to get myself together. I need to get this together. And when it's all together, it'll be fun, it'll be cute, it'll be beautiful. I'll love it. Let's do it. Let's do it! Psyching myself up.
In addition to laziness, one of the reasons I was considering not putting the pocket in was because of how tight it was at the top, which meant that if I put anything in the pocket, it would just be held really tight up against me. So by shortening up that upper part of the skirt, I made a little bit of extra room, but also made it so that most of the pocket actually ends up below that tighter portion, which of course means that pocket and pocket usage is a lot more comfortable. I was just feeling like being done with this project, and I hadn't even started the shirt yet, which I think the fact that I completed this project is really progress for me. I used to really struggle with finishing projects that I start. And often I would finish projects really sloppily because I just wanted to get it done. But even though I was feeling really fed up with this, I did consistently use the iron in order to make it come together and look nice. And I continued to do that into the shirt construction. Here I had to seam rip up the waistband again because I forgot that I needed to tuck the pocket up into the waistband. So I just had to unstitch that little section and then put it back in. Again, I feel like this is something that I would have just left undone because good enough. But it really makes a difference when you go to put something on if you have done a good job making it. And I do get a little bit of a rush every time I put on something that I made and I'm proud of.
I was going to cut out a mock-up of the shirt first and then come up with the yoke thing, but I'm just not feeling it. Hopefully it turns out good on the first try. Here we go.
What did I just say about a well-constructed garment? In this case, I felt comfortable cutting that corner. I felt pretty confident because I have made this pattern before, as I said, and I was still planning to make pattern pieces for the yoke and things. Oh, but I did cut one of the sleeves out wrong the first time around and had to recut it. So, yikes. I decided just to make the orange bits sit on top of the kui fabric.
I have all my pieces cut out. My next step is to sew the darts into the shirts, and that is always something that I find to be a bit intimidating, but I'll show you how I go about sewing in a dart. First of all, it's drawn on the pattern. However, the pattern is coming off. When you sew it, you don't sew it with the pattern on. So what I do is I take my pins out and basically I just kind of like lift up a little piece of the pattern and I stick a pin straight down through, through the fabric, right where the little dot is. And then again, up here, right where this little dot is, and on the other side as well, right where the little dot is. And then one more time, this one I hadn't done. In order to make sure that I'm getting the pin in right where the little dot is, I just put my finger right next to the dot and then pull up the paper, find that spot, and then throw the pin in. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spots that are right where my dots are. Now I can take pins off of my pattern piece. And I have just a bit of chalk I'm going to use to draw a dot and just mark right where those pins are going in. Then I can do the same thing on the other side.
So if you are a person who sews that's watching this, how do you do your darts? Is it like this, or do you have a different trick? Probably a better trick. And the chalk that I use is just chalkboard chalk. Maybe Taylor's chalk. Maybe Taylor's chalk is a little different than chalkboard chalk. I wouldn't know. But chalkboard chalk is cheap and it seems to work just fine for me. So here I'm pinning on the shoulder yoke pieces. I don't even know if that's the right term for that little bit of different colored fabric at the top of the shirt. But before laying this out, I took my pieces and I used an iron to iron that point on the bottom so that I wouldn't have to fight with it when I was pinning it down. Sometimes ironing actually makes the process a little bit easier, and that makes it feel more worth it. I didn't film my struggle with the sleeves, but I had to redo the sleeves so many times. It drove me absolutely crazy. But I got it eventually. When I sewed these down, I started with those pointy bits and I sewed as close to the edge as I could on the first pass and then about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge on the second pass to give it a nice like westerny style stitching. I don't know.
Okay, I'm feeling a little bit like a crazy person right now because I got these pieces put together, right? And I put them on, and whenever I made this before, I made it like a cropped version, so like it not being a good fit down at the bottom, right? Like the ends kind of just barely come together, and they need to go over because it's a button-down shirt. I can just take the darts out of the back, and that might help a little, or I could add, because right now, if this crosses over, then these are not lining up anymore, right? Because they line up, but if they cross, it doesn't line up. So if I add, how much would it screw me up if I were to add just like a strip of orange that crosses over, that covers the button section so that it works. And also matches my sketch a little better because I made the center portion orange. This I do not know. I don't know how much it would screw up the pattern to do that.
So yes, I ended up putting in the strip for the buttons down the middle front. It was the right decision, and that's the decision that I made. Then I had to finish everything off, and that meant hemming and also doing the little slit thing that's in the sides of shirts, which just as a cute little detail, I used some orange fabric to line that inner bit. It's not really visible because I generally wear the shirt tucked in, and so it's just a cute little detail, again, just for me when I put my clothes on. And since I'm doing the finishing bits, that means that you have a reveal to look forward to pretty soon here.
Now, when I walked into that Joann's, it was about to become a ghost town. The vultures were circling and picking at a near clean carcass, and I was one of those vultures. Well, as you already saw, I took home what I could, and I got to work. Was I creating a monster? Or was I creating something special? I leave it to you to decide. Well, I've done it, but at what cost? Am I a monster for making this? Is it a monstrosity? Or is it all right? Let me know in the comments down below. I do think that altogether, it is a little bit of a monstrosity. It's a lot of fun though. I have worn the separate pieces with different outfits that I've put together already, so I will let you know that it is wearable, each piece individually. Altogether, I haven't had the courage to go out in it, if I'm being completely honest. It would make a really cute matching pajama set though, which I might do because I have a good deal of fabric left. Anyways, having worn it functionally, I do wish I had another pocket, but I was just not feeling like making 2 pockets. So 1 pocket is sufficient, and I am happy that I at least have 1 pocket. Perhaps a few more belt loops would have been nice as well, but the belt loops that I have also seem to be sufficient. So I'm, again, not salty about that. A little extra embellishment? I don't think that this needs any more embellishment. I feel like the pattern is quite loud enough as it is. Anyways, I think that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching to the end of that video. If you liked anything about it, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you would like to subscribe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then we can see each other in the next video. Anyways, thanks again for watching to the end of the video, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. If not, I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day, rest of your life, rest of your year, whatever, and goodbye.